Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for viewing this video. Before we get started with discussing the contents of the video, I wanted to introduce my nonprofit, the Accelerated Training Program. Our vision is twofold. First, we want to expose all marginalized groups to cybersecurity education, as well as removing the systemic exclusion of cybersecurity education to marginalized groups. Our website is www.t-atp.org. And if you would like to partner or want to learn more, please visit our contact page where you can fill out your name, your email, and a message, and we will get back to you. And again, thank you so much for viewing the contents of this video. Please check out the nonprofit when you have a moment, and let's get to the video. Hello, and welcome to day 4 of Advent of Cyber 2022. It looks like we're in a new section, scanning through the snow. Okay, so during our investigation of the downloaded GitHub repo from day 3, the OSINT task, Elf Recon McRed identified a URL, qa.santagift.shop, that is probably used by all the elves with admin privileges. Oh, okay, so that might be a problem to add or delete gifts on the Santa website. So, the website has been pulled down for maintenance, and now Recomic Red is scanning the server to see how it's been compromised. So, can we help them? So, we're going to learn about scanning, the different scanning types, techniques, and tools. So, scanning is used to identify live hosts, ports, and services on a target system. And we can use that to identify vulnerabilities and threats on the network. So, there are two types of scanning. There's passive scanning. So, this is where the scan is not directly interacting with the target device. It's usually carried out through packet capture and analysis tools like Wireshark. So, with this, you can get basic information such as operating system version, network protocol, and things of that nature. Active scanning is where the scan is actually interacting with the target. And so, how this works is it does a deep scan performed on targets to get detailed information. So, most times, just a caveat with active scanning, well, first of all, before you do any type of scanning, you should have permission. So, let me just make that clear. Do not scan networks that you do not have permission to scan. So first, make sure you get permission, preferably written permission to do it. And then second, it depends on most people usually, most times you start off with a passive scan and then work your way to an active scan because as the name suggests with active scanning, you're actually interacting with the target, and depending how much scanning you can do, you can actually bring down a network. So again, when you have to be careful when you're doing your scans, especially with active scanning, to make sure you're not sending in too much of a workload to the network. So the techniques. We have network scanning, which is used to discover and map a network. So this is live hosts, open ports, IP addresses, and services running on the host and operating system. So from there, once we have a picture of this, we can see what vulnerabilities are available on that particular host. For example, if the host or a target is using Apache, and let's just say Apache 1.0, and if we look and notice that there's a open vulnerability in Apache 1.0, then we could potentially use that vulnerability on our target. Next is port scanning, and that is where we examine open ports capable of sending and receiving data. So, and that's very important capable of sending and receiving. You might have instances, and they're probably going to talk about it. It's probably a section below where hosts might be open, but the network will try to trick a potential hacker by pretending like the actual host is closed. So, with port scanning, it scans the ports 0 to 65,536. And there are three different states that you could get: a closed port, which means it's not listening on that specific port; open port, where it's actively accepting connections; and then filtered. So it indicates the port is open. However, the host is not accepting connections or accepting connections as per certain criteria. So that's where I was mentioning, where it was like where I mentioned earlier, where the network would try to make it seem like the port isn't open, even though it is. Finally, we have vulnerability scanning, again, which identifies network vulnerabilities, and you do this in an automated way. So, two common tools that pen testers use are Nessus and Accentrix. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have not used that, but I have. I haven't used the second, but I have used Nessus before. And with tools, Network Mapper, so that's Nmap, and you can use that to discover network protocols, running services, and detect the operating system on live hosts. So there are a few rooms: Nmap, Nmap Live Host Discovery, Basic Port Scan, and Advanced Port Scan on TryHackMe. So if you want to learn more about Nmap, definitely check out these rooms. Okay, so we're going to start the machine in a little bit. Um, so this is the machine we're going to use as Recon McRed. So the first scan is the TCP SYN scan. So this is done where you don't complete the three-way handshake. So with TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, there is a three-way handshake that is done to complete a connection. In this case, it does two of the three things. It doesn't do the last step of sending the acknowledgement, and you will want to do this to make your scans a little stealthier, meaning for the blue team or whoever, you want to make yourself hidden. So this is a way to make yourself a little hidden, more hidden, excuse me, and people won't recognize that you're actually scanning a network. So next is a ping scan. So this is used to scan live hosts without going deeper and just checking for port services. Then the operating system, where you can detect which operating system is used, and detecting services. So get a list of running services. So Nikto is used to scan websites for vulnerabilities. So it looks for subdomains, outdated servers, debug messages on the website. So we'll be using that. So now it looks like as Elf Recon McRed, we're going to run Nmap and Nikto against this QA server that we have, and he's done it, and he noticed that there's a Samba service running. And the thing with Samba is that you can, if it's not hardened or protected properly, you can access folders on Samba that are not protected over the network. So he knows that Bandit Yeti API has a few admin users and passwords for QA Santa Gift Shop, and we found it during our OSINT. So it's username Ubuntu and then the password Santa22. And so it looks like we're going to have to actually get into a Samba network. Okay, so let me start the machine. Okay, so let me start the attack box. And also, this day 4 has been solved by Husky Sings. So again, check them out to learn more about them. For instance, if you want to see another way how to solve the challenges, definitely check out Husky Sings. Okay, so we started our machine, and this terminal comes up whenever you use the attack box, which I'm using from TryHackMe. So this is the instructions on tools, web shells, word lists, and things of that nature. We won't need that for this lab, so I'm just going to press enter. Now, we have our IP address of 10.10.110.131, and it is also listed here inside of the little boxes for our challenge. So let's look at question number one. What is the name of the HTTP server running on the remote host? So let me open a terminal, and I am going to say mmap, and I always use the services first, the services scan, detecting services. So I'm going to say 10.10.110.131, which is our IP address for this machine. Okay. So scrolling down, what is the name of the HTTP server? So HTTP, we see the service is on port 80. And so what is the name? The name is Apache. So let's do Apache. Okay. What is the name of the service running on port 22? Port 22, the service SSH. Okay. What flag can you find after successfully accessing the Samba service? So, what we're going to do here is just going to open, and I'm going to change this to SMB 10 10 10 110 131. Okay, so we have three. Okay, so we need to put in, it's asking for our credentials. So we're going to say Ubuntu and Santa 2022. Okay, so we were successful in logging in, and the flag is try hack me Santa SMB server. So we're going to put that there. Oh, nope. Okay. What is the password for the username Santa HR? So let me close this. Santa HR, password is Santa25. Okay. So that was a quick and easy, well, excuse me, shouldn't say easy, but that was a quick lab in learning about scanning, vulnerability scanning, which is used to look for vulnerabilities in a network. Um, Network scanning, which is used to find the ports, services, operating system that is available on a network. Remember, you can do two types of scans: a passive scan, which doesn't interact with your target. You could get, but with passive scanning, you only get basic information, and then there's active scanning where the scan is interacting with the network, and that's more resource intensive on the network. So you need to be careful when using active scanning to make sure that you're not overloading the network. And from there, also with Nmap or Network Mapper, can do different scans, such as the TCP SYN scan, which is a little more stealthier because it doesn't complete the three-way handshake. The TCP protocol three-way handshake. The SYN, excuse me, the third part of the handshake is the acknowledgement, and that piece is not completed in this type of scan. You have a ping scan, and then you have a services scan, which we used here, which provided the port, the state. So all of these ports are open. The service, SSH, HTTP, NetBIOS, SSN. So these two are for Samba, and you can see that here. It says Samba SMBD. And then the version, it will tell us the different versions. So this is OpenSSH 7.6 P1. This is Apache HTTPD 2.4.29 and things of that nature. So we have one more. It's really not a question, but it's if we want to learn more about scanning, we can check out the dedicated module to Nmap or network map. So I hope that you learned something in this lab, and I can't wait to see you in day 5. Have a good day. Bye.